Hi, I'm Aiden Carlson. Welcome to the Harper Harbinger Sports Podcast, Episode 2.
And I'm Luke Kobler.
And we're joined by hockey enthusiast Colin Witt from the University of Michigan State.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. All right, so a lot's happened right now. Cubs were swept in the National League Championship Series, but we're going to start out talking about hockey. So we're 2 weeks in the season. Colin, which team has surprised you the most so far?
For me, it's going to be the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, 7-0 start, that's the first time in history they've done that. Coming off of last season, really good team. It's not so much about just Carey Price anymore. I mean, last season he kind of carried them, but the young guys have kind of stepped up and turned out to be a really good hockey team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that they, I was looking this up yesterday, they moved because last season they were one of the last teams in the league for scoring, but they moved from a top six scoring offense to the first three lines now are trying to score, and then the fourth line is just strictly like a checking line.
Yeah, their coaching has done a nice job improving their young guys. Max Pacioretty and PK Subban have really stepped up their game.
Yeah, and then Carey Price he's amazing.
He's always solid,
Yeah, he won the Hart Trophy and the Vezina last season. So far, he's 6-0-0. He's got 2 shutouts. That's really impressive.
It is, yeah.
I gotta say too, another really surprising team is the Dallas Stars right now.
Yeah, I've been following them that much, but they seem to be a really top contending team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Benn is always he's always a beast. He's always scoring. He's always in there.
Yeah, and it's up all the way. Oh, is it up? Yeah, it's not very loud. I mean Jimmy Benn and Tyler Seguin too. They're a fantastic forward line together. Those two guys, they have a lot of chemistry there. Yeah. Actually, the Stars too. They're 5-1-0 right now, and they lead the league in goals per game with 3.8. So I mean that's really impressive from a team who I believe they missed the playoffs last year.
They did miss the playoffs last year, yeah, but they picked up they traded away Trevor Daley for Oduya from the Blackhawks, and I think he fits in really well with the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they got Sharp too. He hasn't done a whole lot, but I mean either way, he's still a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also I gotta say a notable team here really is the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, team coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean they were one of the probably one of the worst teams last year. They started out the season this year 3-0-0. Now they're 3-2-1. They beat the Ducks, the Penguins, the Kings. I mean, so those are solid teams.
They are, yeah, and I think they're just finally getting their team together. The coaching staff has done a nice job to keep the players improving and forget about the last few seasons and move ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the young guys really stepped up this year.
They have, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So going on from that now, with obviously a big topic right now is the Chicago Blackhawks. They lost a lot of core players in the offseason. Right now they're 3-3. And now Duncan Keith just had surgery. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. How do you think they're going to be playing now?
Well, Duncan Keith, obviously a big part of their defense. They got a lot of young guys in the back line. And I think it's going to be a rough 4 to 6 weeks while Duncan Keith is out because a lot of those young guys, they kind of go, they learn from him. And he's just so solid in the back, and he's also an offensive unit. They're tough, but Blackhawks always find a way to improve.
Yeah. Could you see then with the Hawks blue line? Could you see Coach Q maybe shopping around trying to get another defender possibly to add some depth?
It's always a possibility, but they do have a lot of young guys that obviously need the ice time and are always looking to improve. So.
Yeah. So you think that he's going to try and kind of hope that they step up?
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that's really all that we have so far. Do you have any other teams? Oh, you know what? I want to touch on the Columbus Blue Jackets right now.
They they got a new captain this year, Felino. Obviously, they thought he was going to be, team leader, but the coaching staff obviously hasn't done a whole lot to improve the last 7 games. I mean, they're 0-7. That's a brutal start.
Yeah.
And hopefully with this new coach change, they can step it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's really surprising too because last season, the last 18 games or something, they went 15-0-3 or something like that. And now all of a sudden, they're starting off the season winless 7 games in.
Yeah, some teams always start off bad, but I'm sure they'll pull it together.
Yeah, and John Tortorella, I mean, he coached the Canucks. He used to coach the New York Rangers. They just hired him after they fired their coach a couple days ago. So I think that he has what it.
Winner. I mean, he'll probably bring some new things to the team that they haven't had before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's all that we really have for hockey. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Go Hawks.
Yeah, all right, man. All right, thanks for coming on, Colin.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, see you later. Okay.
So is that it for Hawks?
Yeah, that's it for hockey. Now I think should we shift over to the Cubs?
Alrighty. As I'm sure a lot of you know, the Cubs just got swept in the NLCS. Pretty bummed about that, but you can't help but thinking about the future for the Cubs. I mean, last year they didn't even make the playoffs. They weren't the greatest team, but if you look back, every year they kept on getting better and better, a slightly better record, and this year they definitely rose above the occasion, and they made it to the NLCS, which is obviously one game before the World Series. Now, the teams that they had to get through to get there is pretty crazy. The 2 best teams in the league, the St. Louis Cardinals, who had the best record in the regular season, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, who had the 2nd best record in the regular season. Both teams, in my opinion, are a lot better than the Mets. But the Mets came to play, obviously, sweeping all 4 games in a 7-game series. With Murphy, which had 6 home runs in that season, which is an MLB record. I just gotta say that the Cubs didn't come to play. As a lot of people may say, the Cubs have a history of choking, per se, and that's all really that there is to say about it. But what we can talk about is the future. Obviously, the Cubs have an extremely young team. Kyle Schwarber, Addison Russell's 21, 20 maybe? Yeah, he's 21. Dexter Fowler. Anthony Rizzo is kind of a veteran, but he's still young. Castro is still a veteran, but he's still young. We still have Lester and Arrieta. And when you think about it, when we went into the playoffs, we only had like 2 or 3 players that even had playoff experience. So now that the whole team now has experience going into next year, I think that's going to be a big part of it. Do you think that too?
Yeah, I think that especially now because they kind of rebuilt themselves a little bit last offseason. I think that them going to the championship series, it'll give them a little bit more kind of experience and stuff, so that next year they can come back stronger. Yeah. Because I feel like everyone's kind of freaking out right now. Yeah. Because oh, they got swept. Yeah, but the fact that they even got this far. I mean, they beat Cardinals, only team with over 100 wins. In the season and everything. That's really impressive for a young team like this.
Yeah. Especially, I'd say that within the next few years, I'd say that they're going to the World Series, no doubt, because they just have the talent. They have all the talent. All they have to work on is to get some pitching depth. I mean, they can't really rely on Arrieta and John Lester only. I mean, they have Hendricks and they have good closers, but they have to get some. They have to get some more starting pitchers because you can't only rely on 1 or 2 guys. When you look at the Mets every game, they had depth for their pitching. They would change a pitcher almost every inning, and they would have breaking balls like crazy. And if you watch the games, you can't even see the Cubs even hitting it because they're just swinging all over the place. Curve balls, breaking balls, all that. Just we got outplayed, and all we got to be left with is that we have hopes for the future. As a real Cubs fan would say, every year there's always next year.
So do you think that it's mainly more because the Mets pitchers were the reason why they got swept, or was it that the Cubs hitters weren't really up to the occasion?
I'd say
it's a mixture of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think mostly it was the Mets pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some of the best hitters in the league, and they have some of the best pitchers in the league. And I think the Mets are definitely overlooked. I mean, the last 4 teams in the MLB left in the playoffs are really teams that don't really do this. Blue Jays. I can't think of the other name. But we got Blue Jays, Mets, Cubs, and then it's the Dodgers. I can't think of the last name. I can't think of the last name. Just escaped my thoughts. But they're definitely overlooked, and I think a big thing that's overlooked in just a casual fan's eye is pitching, and I think that's really what's getting all these teams through it. And the Cubs really relied on their hitting, and that's not what's going to get them through to the World Series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They'll definitely have to adjust. But I'm sure that the experience though.
Yeah.
They're definitely a top team, right now. Yeah, exactly.
And for the years to come.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all that we have for today. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. I'm Luke Kobler.
And I'm Aiden Carlson.
Signing off.